Bird.
Bada bing. Oh. Gabba go. Gabba go. Oh, yeah.
I have to sneeze. Hey. It's gone. Whatever.
What the fuck was that?
I had to sneeze and it was like, it's like right there. It's like right on the edge. But that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Happy Amblin, the Adam Sandler, Steven Spielberg podcast retrospective series, detailing the works of the two biggest movie stars in the history of Hollywood. There's no one else bigger than Adam Sandler and Steven Spielberg. Wouldn't you agree, my co-host, Matt Garingo?
What?
I can't do it.
What do you mean you can't do it? You said you gotta go. Just go.
I'm scared. Can you do it too?
All right.
I'm your host, Diego Crespo, and that, again, was Matt Garingo. We're here to talk about Adam Sandler's Big Daddy.
Welcome to Happy Amblin.
I did that already.
We're here to talk about Big Daddy.
do you want to run this one?
No, I do not.
That's what I thought. Anyways, we're here to talk about the 1999 American comedy film. Adam Sandler reteams with Dennis Dugan, his director on Happy Gilmore, and, of course, the hit classic Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh, yeah. Was that Farley's last movie?
I believe it was,
that
and
his
I
last
haven't seen it.
Leading film? He's the legendary white ninja. And the joke is that he's a very bad ninja. But because some old prophecy said there's going to be a white ninja, they can't, let him go. That's not a bad setup.
Is that Kung Fu Panda?
It kind of is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but Kung Fu Panda, it turns out he really is, a chosen one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Beverly Hills Ninja is kind of, all incidental.
Okay. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he does end up, stopping a crime, but, there's never a scene in it, at least I don't remember where they go, actually, you fulfilled the prophecy. The prophecy is very vague. It just says there will be a great white ninja. So, I think the moment he did anything, they were like, fine, you fulfilled the prophecy.
Just get out of here.
But that's a movie that's literally just Chris Farley getting hit in the head over and over again. And he keeps accidentally murdering people.
Oh, shit.
But they're all bad guys.
Okay.
There's one where he's at a Benihana
Well, as long
type.
as they're criminals.
Yeah, there's
I guess.
Well, there's a scene where he's at a Benihana type restaurant and he's disguised as a chef. And he's, of course he's bad, he's fucking it up, haha. And he's trying to do a trick with the knives. And one slips out of his hand and stabs someone, but that person just happened to be an assassin coming to kill him. But if that circumstance hadn't have been happening, he might have killed an innocent person. Chris Rock's also in that movie.
I bet one day I'm going to watch it and I'm going to be the one fucking loser that likes that movie.
It's not, I haven't seen it since I was a child and I liked it as a kid.
Okay.
I just remember there's a lot of scenes of Chris Farley, legit injuring himself and setting things on fire. And then it's
living in a van down by the river.
Yeah. But it's also one of those where it's it feels like a leftover script from the 80s where it was 48 hours showed that we can be funny and violent at the same time. Because people really get shot. And there's actually a fairly complicated plot about counterfeit money. Because I think that's what the villain was up to in that film. They were trying to transfer these plates that could make counterfeit whatever is Chinese currency, the yen.
I believe so.
So I think that's what the plot of that movie was.
Do you like it more than Big Daddy?
I might. I gotta rewatch it. Now I kind of really want to rewatch Beverly Hills.
Delay the episode. We're gonna watch
Beverly
Hills Ninja.
I might. Next Adam Sandler one, I will try to watch Beverly Hills Ninja and let you guys know what I think.
Maybe there'll be a bonus episode for the Patreon. But Big Daddy is a film about Adam Sandler's character, Sonny Koufax, a man who lives in New York City, and of course he's an adult with no sense of responsibility, direction in his life. It's like, this is where the Adam Sandler character is like, it's already been solidified. You kind of know the vibe of him going in. I really think this one became like a staple. At the very least, like looking back for me, this is like, oh, by this point you kind of know what you're getting with an Adam Sandler movie.
This is probably where it becomes a staple, but it's also the moment where they add the element that there's always like a weird like heart at the center of his films, which is an odd thing to say, you know. We've watched, I don't know how many we've done total right now, but since Billy Madison, we've done 4 Sandlers before this, and 3 of those feature him as basically a violent psychopath. And this is the first one where he gets angry, but he's not like horrifically violent. He does injure pedestrians a lot and throws himself in front of cars, but it's more about him trying to take care of this kid. And then it's like, oh, and like it ends with like a custody battle, which is an odd turn for an Adam Sandler film. It's not a academic decathlon or The Big Game or, you know, stopping your sweetheart from getting married to a guy.
This one like almost taps into something very real in a way. Like, is that weird for me to say?
No,
like,
but it's like, it is one where I think Adam Sandler disarms you because his movies are so like dumb, and I say that as a compliment. They're just so dumb and like very basic and blunt and goofy. But then like out of nowhere there will be like, hey, this kid's gonna go to a fucking group home. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? And it's like, oh yeah, and you might go to prison because you're lying about being this child's father. And it's like, that's a kind of real thing to just throw in here at the 11th hour.
Also, Jon Stewart was in this, and I completely forgot.
Yeah, this is when Jon Stewart was trying to be an actor. This is the year he became the host of The Daily Show.
I thought you were going to say, this is the year he acted in movies.
No.
The one. Just the one, though.
Well, what he did, he's in The Faculty.
Which I still have not.
Oh, you got to see that. He's the biology teacher.
All right.
He's in Death to Smoochie. Have you ever seen Death to Smoochie?
No, but I know of the title, and that's literally all I know about it.
There's a line in that movie I use a lot. Where Robin Williams, I won't even give context, but Smoochie the Rhino, the children's television character, is singing a song with all the children, and it's a song that doesn't really make any sense, and Robin Williams is plotting revenge, and he just says behind the scenes, he's like, whatever that means, you fucking peasant. He's fantastic. That's when Roger Ebert gave it 1 star and said it takes a group of very talented people to make a movie this bad.
I mean, that's kind of a compliment.
Yeah. There's a great, if you can find it, I don't believe it's up anymore because they kind of took all of them down, but there was a great episode of the Howard Stern Show that had Jon Stewart on the day before he hosted the Oscars for the first time. And they also brought Ebert on, and Ebert kind of like went over the reviews of all of Jon Stewart's movies.
Well, speaking of Ebert, he gave this 1.5 stars.
Yes. I think he called it like a very sick film.
Yeah, this is the first line. Big Daddy is a film about a seriously disturbed slacker who adopts a 5-year-old and tutors him in cynicism, cruel practical jokes, and antisocial behavior.
That's a heavy start, Ebert.
Yep. Yep.
Now, do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Really?
I kind of do.
All right.
There is heart in this. There are moments that are very touching because Adam Sandler's characters are always just like very, well, not always because, you know, Billy Madison, of course, but like the kind of vibe you end up getting from a lot of his characters are always like They're very cynical, and they're very self-centered, but the moments where like the heart comes out, like even though he's being like a huge asshole to someone eventually, there's like something very tangible there in the performance, and just like because it's a kid, and the kid of course is played by the Sprouse twins,
Dylan and Cole Sprouse.
yeah, as people will know them from their Disney days, of course, and for all the melodrama fans out there, if you're watching Riverdale like I do, then you know Dylan. I love trash, and that show is glorious trash.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't really recommend it, but I love it.
Yeah, but like here's my thing about Riverdale.
All right, let's do this.
It feels calculated to be trash. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I love trash when there's like an earnestness to it. There doesn't seem to be an earnestness to Riverdale. It feels like they're like, yeah, we know it's an Archie comic, right? Like, and I don't know. And I couldn't get into it. It felt too, like, if you want to talk about cynicism, I feel a lot of cynicism from Riverdale.
Oh damn.
And I'm not saying I don't feel it in Big Daddy.
Yeah,
But
like,
I get more of a vibe from Riverdale.
All right, I will just say though, because now I've kind of for shows like that, I'm like I either watch them weekly or like I can wait for Netflix. After a certain season, I was like, I could wait for Netflix. I'm a fan, but you know, there's a difference between Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing. Anyways,
we're all ignoring the fact that the perfect Archie comic adaptation already happened with Josie and the Pussycats.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, you are missing out.
All right,
It is
I'm excited
like
to check it out.
It is. All right, this might be a bit of a stretch, so I don't want you to get your hopes up too much.
All right,
But it is like a great movie about friendship that's also secretly a Paul Verhoeven level satire.
oh, bold! I just rewatched the first RoboCop.
It's I would say
so-
more Starship Troopers. It's more in line with Starship Troopers.
Okay.
There's even a part of the movie that tells you to join the army.
Wow.
And it's a movie that bombed horribly and basically ruined everyone except Rosario Dawson's career.
Aww.
Which is a shame because it's a great movie.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm interested in checking it out now.
Yeah. Honestly, if it's streaming somewhere, like watch it as soon as possible.
Actually, no, hang on. Let's see, because I gotta watch Creepshow. I'm writing these down like live right now.
Okay.
Oh fuck, hang on. Why do none of these pens work? I don't know how to place my pens. Okay. Creepshow, Josie and the Pussycats, Popeye.
Make sure Popeye is still on. Popeye was on Netflix recently, and those don't tend to last very long.
Yeah, I know. Like, Last Boy Scout was on for like a month only. Like, what the
Yeah.
heck was that? Josie and the Pussycats, Popeye, Creepshow. What was the one you just? Oh, Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah, but that's not no. I mean, that's
Was there
one.
another one?
If you have time.
Okay.
I think I
That'll be on the
recommended
back burner.
something recently to you that I was shocked you hadn't seen, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. I'm gonna listen back to this when I edit it anyway, so whatever. But I guess this is kind of emblematic of what we think about Big Daddy
Yeah.
with these discussions. I will guide this episode though, and I will take us through all the ebbs and flows of the drama, the twists and turns, the cameos, the
Great cast in this one.
cameos.
It's a very
You know
good
what?
cast.
I'm realizing I like every cast Adam Sandler's working with. Like,
Yeah.
generally, like, I'm sure we're gonna hit something where I'm like, oh yeah, no, that was just like not. That just didn't work. I mean, we're already reaching that kind of point, but you get what I'm saying.
I think shockingly, it's going to stop working when we get the grown-ups, which is so weird considering like that's like one of those like movies where it's like, oh my god, they're all together, and it's just like, oh, that might be the turning point, but we'll see.
Yeah, but This one's good. Christy Swanson plays his girlfriend in the opening act of the film, the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, who is now like, isn't she like a very right-wing person?
Yeah. We don't talk about that.
Well, you brought her up.
Yeah, yeah.
You could have brought up Joey Lauren Adams, who should have had a bigger career.
Well, there's okay. Do you want to talk about Joey Lauren Adams?
Yeah, she should have had a bigger career.
Yeah.
This is like
she's good in this.
This is like her follow-up to Chasing Amy. Like her first, like, big follow-up to Chasing Amy.
And again, with the Adam Sandler love interests, who Joey Lauren Adams, of course, plays. The actresses always just, they're like too good.
Oh, yeah.
For that role. And, of course, now, like you said, we're seeing so few of them, like, actually springboard to bigger careers, which is really a bummer.
Yeah, and that's not these movies' fault, really. That's just the industry's fault.
Oh yeah, no. It's a systemic issue.
Here's the thing. Maybe we'll get into this as we go on, but is there a female equivalent to Adam Sandler? And like, would audiences accept a woman going in the same direction as some of his characters?
I don't know. I bet there's someone that could pull it off. Melissa McCarthy kind of had a string for a minute there.
Yeah, but she fell more into like the Chris Farley mold. You know?
Maybe. Also, I
feel like that came across like I was saying that they're both fat. Like, that's not what I mean. But they're both people with a lot of energy. And
they can sell a yell.
Yeah.
That's what, like, I'm actually a very big fan of her work with Paul Feig.
Yes.
With maybe one exception. I don't even hate that one like some people.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yeah, she's, maybe she had that run for a little while. That's probably the most comparable to Sandler.
But, like, could a woman get away with threatening violence as much as Adam Sandler does?
I'm remembering lines from, like, The Heat, and...
Oh, yeah, she does, like, beat the shit. But she's like a cop in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, that... It puts in a different arena. Like, I'm talking about... We need someone
who's
who
like a
is...
normal human?
Yeah. Like... First of all, like, it's got to be a female character who has a very privileged lifestyle. Sonny Koufax in this film, we find out he came from a rich family. He is a lawyer, but is just not like. Was he not completing the bar exam or something?
He didn't take the bar exam because he's a slacker. He just works like one day a week.
He works in a toll booth. He has other successful former roommates, and that's kind of like, because he has a very good like loft apartment in New York City, which even in 99 probably would have been hard to get. And his foot got run over by a taxi cab, so he won a lawsuit, and he's like coasting off of $200,000. So like, that's a very unlikable person.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I'm not saying I would. I feel like audiences though would be more critical if there was a female character that did something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that weird double standard.
I think the double standard totally there. I mean, like, it just, okay, to go back to Melissa McCarthy, like, she got a lot of shit for doing basically similar like style lowbrow comedies. You know?
Yeah.
And then she kind of has had almost this reinvention in recent years, like Sandler did when he started taking serious roles. And now people are like finally waking up to that. Oh no, she's like really good, like as a performer, you know?
Yeah.
Even outside of comedic stuff. So I don't know. I would like to see that, even if it's like, I'm gonna go ahead and say I think Big Daddy's actually a pretty bad movie, like not. Good.
I don't know. I liked it enough.
I can't. Okay, so this is what's happening with the Adam Sandler stuff.
I guess I just know how low it's gonna go. I guess that's what it is.
I guess because like this is the first Adam Sandler movie I ever remember watching like in my life. This is the one.
Mm-hmm.
So I always kind of felt this connection to it, but like I don't. It's just not enough for me. I guess there again little moments. Cute, even some funny stuff.
I
like
think
when they pee on the side of the restaurant.
Yeah, I think this is a very by the numbers film. It's literally like it's a classic setup where it's like, oh, we're gonna put an unprepared adult with a child. Like that's fucking. You can go back to Charlie Chaplin's The Kid. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of the oldest.
Oh my god, this is Adam Sandler's The Kid.
Yeah, basically, and it has a very similar ending. That ends with more of a chase scene than a courtroom scene, but hey.
Oh no. I want Adam Sandler to go into that territory. If he can't do more dramatic roles after this like insane Oscar snub, I want him to just turn into Charlie Chaplin. But I don't think he has that kind of energy, and that's fine.
I would say it basically it hits all the beats of like, all right, what's a fun thing to watch Adam Sandler and a kid try to do? So it's like, oh, go out for food, and oh, the kid wet the bed. No, the kid wants to watch his favorite kid show, but you want to watch the game. And it's all, it's very predictable. Mm. But I think enough of the individual moments are funny that it kind of makes it helps it rise to a level that I enjoyed. And again, I think that he's a little more, he is very cynical. It is weird where we're going from, Billy Madison, which is absurd, and then Happy Gilmore, where he fights Bob Barker, and then The Waterboy, where he's like basically just beating up people the whole movie. Like the whole thing is that he's a complete idiot who just assaults people that whole movie. And here it's weird because he's got that level of anger, but it also kind of, there's a weird disconnect when it actually gets violent at times. It only happens a few times, but it's a little weird.
Well, here's something I will say in a positive light. The story comes from writer, director, and musician, which I'm just learning, Steve Franks, who's most popularly known for his work in creating the USA Network original series Psych, which I'm actually a very big fan of.
I couldn't find much of it, but it feels like he maybe had this script, and then Sandler and Tim Hurley got a hold of it and like tooled it to be more of a Sandler film.
Yeah, he's not like a someone I worship writer-wise, but he made a very long-running, very consistently entertaining series.
Yeah.
He's got something, and something about he's good at banter. And I don't know how much of this is his. He got the story and screenplay credit.
Well,
maybe it's like a Colin Trevorrow in Episode 9 thing.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I will say that the strength of this movie is not the banter.
Okay, so did you notice how awkward some of the cutting was between people at times?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It felt like there was a little dead air.
But it just felt like it was more the general cheapness that kind of comes with these type of comedies. This feels like a step down. The Waterboy felt like it actually kind of had a budget, which I'm not sure if it even did. It just felt like it did. Well, this movie had a $34 million budget.
Yeah, and Waterboy had $23 million, so I don't know where the fuck it went here.
Wow. Yeah, maybe it was the cast.
Sorry, that was a little intense. I don't hate this movie.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. I liked it, is what I said.
Yeah, maybe the cast, and just because I think they actually shot in New York, and that does get expensive.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it was then.
I mean, just talking about this barely again, I'm like, oh, maybe I was a little hard on the Waterboy.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should have brought something to the Waterboy.
I brought.
We've recorded at the time of recording this. We have recorded but not released the Waterboy. And then we recorded Raiders of the Lost Ark, of course, which was a phenomenal episode that changed the course of podcasting history.
Kind of hard to top the Close Encounters episode.
I'm hoping, because I did the same joke with Close Encounters, and we ended up having a really good episode. So I'm hoping that if I do it again, it'll work.
All right. Oh wait, so now you got to do it for a Sandler one.
No, I do not.
Little Nicky's gonna change the game.
No, it will not. I remember Little Nicky.
Oh, see, I don't. I just know the Quentin Tarantino thing now.
That voice is gonna be not fun.
Need some more medulla oblongata.
See, that was funny. He beat up Colonel Sanders in The Waterboy. You just weren't vibing with it though.
I wasn't. I honestly wasn't.
I can't believe you didn't find the fact that that movie, for no real reason, ends with Colonel Sanders getting trampled to death.
So we should start off with the water boy. I mean, the fucking Big Daddy.
I'm just saying, you gave me nothing that episode, so it's like I have all these like hanging points.
All right. Here, you can talk about the water boy while I talk about Big Daddy.
No, it's fine. What in Big Daddy do you want to talk about? I'm trying to steer this shit more positive.
Okay.
Because I feel like if we go negative this early, frankly, first of all, it wouldn't. I'm not even being disingenuous. I did like this movie. Mm-hmm. I wasn't in love with it. As much like I really enjoyed rewatching The Waterboy. I didn't enjoy Big Daddy on the same level, but I still liked it. But if we go low this early, we won't have anywhere else to go when it really turns.
Well, here's what I will say. This kernel of an idea that I'm always very attracted to in films like this, or just like any like film with like a cynical asshole as the main character, or at least a main character, is them learning to care about something other than themselves. You know, like it's a very like comforting trope to me. Where they're angry at the world and they don't give a shit about anything, but then there's like this cute smaller person that they care about. And it's like they have just soft feelings about them. It's a very like Tumblr thing. I bet Tumblr like wormed its way into my brain with that kind of thing, because I've been noticing a lot of my favorite subject matter in the last decade has stuff like that. But I don't know. I buy the connection between the characters.
That's a fine idea, but that like barely happens in this movie.
I know, but like it happens. When it does happen, I'm like, oh, this is what I want.
Okay.
It
gets
the
weird
stuff right here.
We're at the end when Sonny Koufax is exposed as being a criminal. He's like, why won't anyone help me? Why does no one care about this kid? Everyone cares about themselves. And it's like, dude, you've only cared about yourself until this kid. Yeah. Like, you got no right to be accusing Joey Lauren Adams of not like immediately jumping on the case. You know?
And not only that, he got the kid because he was selfish.
Yeah.
So, like, the inception of the kid entering his life is his own selfishness. So it should be something he has to confront.
And it is interesting where he first starts liking the kid because he basically can use the kid to, like, because, like, suddenly women are more approachable to him, you know? And
so skeevy.
It's got the classic man-child comedy setup of the woman being very upset that the man can't commit, which never seems to end with the guy actually learning to commit. As much as that trope pops up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if the guy like learns to get his shit together, they always tend to find a way to punish the woman who wanted them to commit. Which this movie does, because she ends up working at Hooters. Which is like considered like a lowly job in this movie, which is a very odd thing.
I was okay, so this is just like kind of a tangent, but like I was working on a set recently, and I was talking to a couple people like, oh, I love hot wings, and they're like, oh, you know what? You got to go to Hooters, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not a fan like of their wings, and they're like, no, you got to do it like a certain way, and we just spent like half an hour talking about wings at Hooters and why I just don't think their wings are that good.
Are Hooters still around?
Yeah, there's a couple. There's like one in LA and there's one like in Hollywood or something, but
I've
only been to the one in LA because it's across the street from the convention center, basically. So like when I go for Comic-Con, it's like, well, I like food that's bad for me.
I pass a Hooters, but it looks like derelict, so I don't even know if it's open or if it's just Hooters. I don't know. But you know why I probably related this movie so much?
Is Adam Sandler your dad?
Kinda.
Oh my god.
No, I wouldn't go that far. But 1999, that's very maybe a year into my parents' divorce.
Ah.
So I'm living with a single father who is now trying to do, domestic work as well as, being the caregiver and supporting the family. I basically watched my dad learn how to cook, because he was not good at it at the start. But also, I don't know if you've had this experience, but sometimes your single parent wants to go out and do something, like watch the game, but they can't leave their kid home alone, and it's too late to get a sitter, so might as well bring the kid to the bar.
Yes, I forget that you are also a child of divorce. So yeah, if we're gonna go there, then yeah, there were a couple times where, hey, Pop's gonna go out with his work friends. We're gonna go sit at the bar at Applebee's and eat some food and drink some drinks, and their drinks looked a little different than mine.
Yeah, there was a decent window into my childhood here. Not like, my father was not Adam Sandler. But it was like they're very, very similar age, so. But one of the movie theaters, when I was a child, all the movie theaters were at like malls, because it was like, movie plexes. Mm-hmm. And the restaurant right below the movie theater was a Hooters. So, as a child, I've been to Hooters a lot more than maybe a child should be. What an odd idea for a restaurant. Like one that just openly encourages harassing the wait staff.
Everyone should watch the film Support the Girls, because it's very good, and it tackles that very idea. Even though it's not Hooters, they're very clear to say.
You know what other movie features Hooters? Tony Scott's Unstoppable.
Oh, shit.
Is Denzel Washington's
that's a masterpiece.
Daughter, I think, gets a job at Hooters, and that's like a big deal. Like, he doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And that movie does not end with him being like, oh, now she doesn't have to work there. It's like, hey, she still has the job. He'll have to come to terms with that on his own.
Late era Tony Scott, or actually all Tony Scott, but specifically those last two, rest in peace. He, the endings are always very almost melancholy. Yeah, they won the day, but it's after the taking of Pelham 123, Denzel Washington's character takes the train home.
Yeah.
Instead of accepting the ride from the mayor.
Well, several of his later films are about working class people, and the thing that he understood that a lot of other movies don't, and I would say Adam Sandler films don't always get this too, because he plays in his earlier movies a lot of working class people. That once the movie's over, you would think, if something let's say, taking a Pelham 123 happened to you in actual life, whether you're Denzel Washington or just a passenger on that train, you'd think, all right, well, my life is now over. I don't need to do anything for the rest of my life because I just experienced something fucking insane. But the truth is, if you're a working class person, it's well, maybe they'll give you a couple days off, but you're going to have to go back to the job at some point.
Yep.
Even though you just stopped basically a terrorist or survived a staged terror attack, hostage situation. And it's well, nope. Time marches on for everyone. And that's
what a great fucking filmmaker, man.
Yeah, it's great. But that's where I think this movie kind of gets it a little more, where at the end of it, there's kind of an ambiguity as to all right, they'll figure it out. We're not going to see them figure it out, but they'll figure it out. And although they have that tacked on kind of epilogue, which maybe fucks that up. But a lot of Sandler movies kind of end where it's all right, I won. I'm on top, and now everything's good. I mean, Waterboy ends that way. Happy Gilmore ends that way. Billy Madison kind of doesn't, but he's always going to be rich. So he's I'm going to become a teacher. And it's oh, that's great. But yeah.
No, see, Billy Madison needed to end like Dark Knight Rises. He needed to lose the wealth and everything so he could finally live life as a free human being. He was not confined by the chains of richness.
All right, Dark Knight Rises.
I'm just.
I'm just saying. All right. I don't know how the stock market works, but I think if a terrorist shows up and does something, and like, it's no one disputes that Bane stole all his money, right? No one disputes that. Isn't there like a contingency plan? Like,
I don't know.
Doesn't the bank go like, hey, look, like, you know, we can't like process a lot of your loans, but we're not going to take all your money away from you. We clearly understand that a criminal act was committed against you. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not demanding logic. I just think that's very funny.
Oh no, yeah. I mean,
he literally goes home that night and he's like, they turned my power off. And it's like, they don't even do that to poor people. Leslie Mann's in this movie.
Leslie Mann. What do you think of her as an actress?
I like Leslie Mann.
Okay, good. I had seen some slander when she was starting to appear in all the Judd Apatow films, and I was like, well, they're fucking married. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always just kind of been defensive about her because I'm like a fan, and I think
maybe
she's got really good comedic timing.
She's got great comedic timing, and I think it's a little you could maybe argue that she kind of plays the same person in every movie.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay,
but,
I see it.
But that's not like always awful. There's a lot of awkward talk in this movie about how she used to work at Hooters. That's a little... I think she was married to Judd Apatow by now, or at least knew of him.
She married Judd Apatow in 1997.
Yeah, and Judd Apatow knew Adam Sandler. And it's just so it would be a little weird if I'm like your buddy and it's like, hey, I wrote a role for your wife and we're going to talk about her boobs the whole movie.
Yeah, that would be...
It's a comedy, so I guess...
It's a very raunchy 90s comedy. So
yeah, but it's not like it's not a raunchy 90s comedy. That's what Adam Sandler's genius was, is that he was the safe alternative to all the like There's Something About Mary ripoffs that came along.
I mean, I guess I would consider this more like, this is gonna sound weird, family friendly.
Oh no, definitely. These are as much as like, yes, it's about a fucking misanthrope and a cynical person raising a kid very cynically. The plot's very cynical and manipulative, whatever. But Adam Sandler became hugely popular with families. To the point where my grandmother took me to see Mr. Deeds in theaters.
Wow.
Which we'll get to that. And then to the point where he made an animated film, and he was a regular at the Nickelodeon Kid Choice Awards every year. Like, Adam Sandler's a family-friendly brand, for whatever you want to say. And I think we'll find out that, like, his biggest bombs are when he does lean into the raunchiness and when he does go, like, hard R. Those tend to be his biggest slip-ups in his career.
I really never thought about it that way. Wow.
Well, I'll save more because like there's more explicit examples the later we get, but I mean, that's why he's very popular with those people who are like, they're very conservative, they're very like family values centric, but they also like secretly love raunchy comedies. Like, you've met those like people with like that odd contradiction in them where like they can't stand like the liberal elites of Hollywood, but then they like some of the strangest fucking movies ever. I mean, Tyler Perry falls into this same category.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
They should work together.
I mean, Medea is kind of... You know what? There we go. There's the female Adam Sandler. It's Medea.
No.
She, like, drives a car into, like, a restaurant to, like, assault the cashier in one of those fucking movies because they fucked up her order or something. But those movies are much more explicit in their, like, family values subtext.
and they always have some weird, like, problematic element in
Oh,
them.
no,
It's like, you could just take it out, and it would change nothing.
Yeah, they're very, very strange. Medea also uses more firearms than Adam Sandler does.
Can I just say that Boo, a Medea Halloween, is the most disappointing experience ever?
Oh, really?
Because they sell it in the trailer like Medea's gonna fight zombies. So, like,
yeah.
on some level, you're excited for that concept, right? Because, like if Larry the Cable Guy fought zombies, I don't care for Larry the Cable Guy, but, like, I would watch that. And it's just some Scooby-Doo style, some young teens are pranking Medea.
Yeah, it's a prank war.
How do you fuck that up?
I don't know, but that's, like, kind of what I enjoyed about it.
No. Oh my god, we're moving on. Anyways, in Big Daddy.
I gotta say, if you want to understand probably why I am the bigger defender of Adam Sandler, there's a scene early on in Boo and Medea Halloween where someone pops out of a box dressed as a clown, and Medea just punches them in the face, and, like, I legit laughed at that. So, if you want to know where my brain is at in terms of lowbrow comedy,
I'm not a hater of Medea. Let me just say that I'm not a fan either. But, like, I've laughed at Tyler Perry movies.
Did you laugh at the clown getting punched?
No.
Then all right, there's a difference.
Okay.
Are you a Three Stooges fan?
I am a Three Stooges fan, actually.
Okay. All right, wait, hold on. Yeah. Hold up. When was the last time you watched a Three Stooges short?
Oh, God. Oh, it's been a while. I might have been, like, in high school or when I first started college.
Yeah, you might not hold up for you.
Okay. Should I just leave it in the past?
No, because I mean, I wouldn't say don't try it, because I do like the Three Stooges, but those are also a group of guys that just got weirder and weirder as time went on. And they did one of, like, the first, like, anti-Nazi comedy films.
Oh, good for them.
Which I believe, like, ends up featuring Moe as Hitler.
Oh, what?
And
what?
And Curly as Benito Mussolini. But, like, you know,
what?
like, they have, like, different names. They're
yeah, of course.
But I do believe Moe has the Hitler mustache at one point. And I think they all get, like, killed by lions, which is another weird thing. Because the Three Stooges don't normally die in their shorts.
Wow, that took a leap. And it was already pretty far off with the Nazi satire. I got no way of bringing it back to Big Daddy, so I'll just say...
Well, let's. I actually have a way.
Okay.
But speaking of the family values thing, one weird element of Adam Sandler films is that they tend to feature very prominent gay characters. Which is something
Okay, that wasn't that bad. Yeah.
Which is something I did not remember about this movie when I sat down to watch, because it's been about a decade since I watched Big Daddy. And I forgot that Alan Covert and Peter Dante are in a gay relationship together. And it's weird because there is the one character, the other character from The Waterboy, who, like, they were all roommates at one point, and then it's like, oh, at some point the two roommates came out like, hey, we're gay and we love each other. And they're like, and the one guy clearly has a problem with it, but Adam Sandler's like, what's the problem? They're gay. That's why they kiss. He has a line like that early in the film, but they still mine a lot of kind of laughing at, oh, they're gay.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because, yeah, it does carry on through his films, but, like, it's both in support, but it's also, like, look at funny, right, guys, because of gay? Like, I'm just going to put that clip from The Office in there.
Right, guys, because of gay?
Well, it's like Werner Herzog hit on this when he pitched his version of Grown Ups 3. When he said that... No, it's a comedy bit.
Oh, my God.
Paul F. Tompkins as Werner Herzog. He pitches his version of Grown Ups 3, which if you haven't heard that, you should listen to it. And I won't spoil what his version is, but it's pretty funny. And he hits at one point. Werner hits on the idea that these movies posit that being gay is the funniest thing you could possibly be. It's like just the very idea of gay people is funny in these films. Which is so weird now that we're in a post-gay marriage era. Where it's like, now that it's just so... Now that, like, you know... I'm not, you know, it's definitely not... The work isn't done, it's not perfect. But gay people definitely feel more comfortable being open these days. And it's no longer like you know, you wouldn't even be like, oh, they're my gay friend or something like that, which seems like it would have been a more common thing in the 90s. Now it's like, oh, they're my friend because I know so many gay people. Why bother singling them out?
The politics of Adam Sandler movies might need its own episode breakdown. Like, we could talk about them in between, like, the films, but, like, I just, there's a lot to parse out.
I think we can weave it in fairly well. I mean, it's important to remember that Adam Sandler is a Republican.
Yeah.
I mean, but also, I mean, just to give him a little bit of slack, he might be like Gary Sinise, where Gary Sinise is like, I'm a Republican, but I hate Donald Trump. Because like a lot of Republicans have kind of quieted down on being Republicans since Trump took office. Others have gotten more vocal. Like Scott Baio and Vince Vaughn.
Oh, yeah. Didn't Vince Vaughn just go to, like, a game with him? I don't know what...
There was like, a thing going around. He, like, approached Trump and, like, said something to him. I don't know. Who cares? I mean...
Yeah. I mean, like, oh, look, like, I'm sounding bummed out because, like, yeah, like, it'd be nice if people, like, whose work I admired were, like, certainly more, I guess, less conservative.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also understand that, like, if he's not, like, actively hurting people, or any performer or artist that I admire, like, if they're not actively hurting people, like, the chances are you're probably gonna have different politics on certain things.
Well, now it's gotten so weird in the post-Trump era, because it really is like the fact that we let it slide for so long kind of is what allowed Trump to rise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where Trump just did what all the Republicans have been doing for since Nixon, and he was just very more vocal and unapologetic about it, and to the point where, like, he can basically say the most racist things ever and people will defend him for not being racist. And I think if you're even slightly liberal, it's caused you to at least re-examine everything. And now it's like, oh, like, you know, the idea of the classical liberal idea of being like, well, we disagree, but we can let it, you know, that's life. You got to live with people you disagree with, which is true. But it's very clear that we weren't enforcing that line. That there clearly is a part where we should have put a harsher line. And we didn't do that. And now we need to relearn how to do that. And unfortunately, I mean, we're at a point where there aren't any good Republicans anymore. You know? There maybe never were. It's like, you know, John McCain was always kind of presented as like, oh, the maverick Republican. But it's like, you know, he was fucked up too. So... yeah, especially now that we're basically in the middle of the impeachment trial while we're recording this, and it's such a sham. And the Republicans are obstructing pretty much everything, and it's the biggest farce in American history. Which is literally, we have a president who admitted to committing crimes on Twitter, and then he's probably not going to get found guilty. And the only way you could do that is, I mean, that's, you know, at some point, it's no longer just a basket of deplorables. It is now the entire party is complicit. And Republicans definitely aren't understanding that. They're like, where did all this vitriol come from? And it's like, well, wake the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing where people are saying, like, I don't recognize this country anymore. And it's like, well, you might not have been looking, but it's definitely kind of been heading towards one direction.
Like I said, it was like, for me, it's like, oh, I was accidentally right about this country. Because I definitely didn't have the intelligence or wherewithal to do it, to believe the things I believe for logical reasons. It just turned out like, oh no, the GOP really is trying to destroy the country.
I don't think they'll stop at the country, but your point is correct.
Well, yeah, but who else matters, am I right? God bless America. I mean, we even, it's not like Obama didn't blow up half the fucking world, too. Oh, I'm dropping those hot takes.
Have you not seen my Twitter?
Yeah, even, well, you know what? Probably next, I've muted so many words that now I just don't see anything. I finally unmuted Bernie Sanders because I was like, fuck it, I'm voting for Bernie, why not? But I don't follow anything. I just, because it's so, like, nothing matters. But more people seem to be waking up.
Yeah,
at least
nice.
I feel. Seeing people I did not expect to support Bernie Sanders supporting Bernie Sanders. People who were very vocal about being Elizabeth Warren fans who are now like, nope, we're on the Bernie train.
I had a friend actually tell me back in 2016 that they hated Bernie Sanders, and then I just hung out with them again recently, and they're like, no, he's the choice. Like, he's the guy. So I was like, wow, that's great.
Someone messaged me like at the very start of this primary, was like, I made some comment and they respond with like, so long as it's not Bernie either, or something like that. I think I was saying like I didn't want Biden, and they were like, as long as it's not, like, and they thought like I would agree with that, which was weird. I didn't respond, but now I see that they're on the Bernie train too, so it's like, okay, a lot has changed in 6 months, which gives me some hope. It's really about it's now in the hands of the DNC not to fuck it up, which, based on their track record.
Sorry, just like, oh shit, that's right.
Yeah. Throughout the course of Big Daddy, we see Sandler's relationship with the kid change, where he first sees the kid as like an opportunity to prove to his girlfriend that he can commit. And then he starts running into problems where he's like, well, now I'm stuck with this kid. And he kind of only likes the idea of the kid. And he starts doing the classical thing where it's like, I'm not going to be like my dad. I'm going to raise you different. And he lets the kid do whatever he wants to do. Which becomes like a big like center point of this film. And that's when the kid decides he wants his name to be Frankenstein.
Hey, Frankenstein. I did like that.
Oh, all right. This actually, to bring it back to how I relate to this film a lot, there was a part in my childhood where, when you're first like learning curse words, this might be hard to believe to anyone listening to the podcast, this story I'm about to tell. But at some point, like, I was testing them out, and like my dad originally had a very strict policy about not cursing. And then one day he was like, no, go ahead, you can curse as much as you want. And so for like, I would say like a solid month, I said basically every curse word in the book. I'm like 8. And I'm just cursing up a storm. As long as like I didn't do it at school. Like, that was the concession. I can't do it at school. But if I'm at home, I can curse as much as I want. And then at the end of it is when like, okay, now you can't curse anymore. And I don't know what to tell you. But from then until I was 18, I did not curse.
Wow.
I don't think there was like a brilliant strategy behind that, but that's how it panned out. It took like the tail end of high school when I was like just not giving a shit before I started cursing again. And now I say the F word every fucking 3 words. So...
It's like that accent in SpongeBob when they go to rock bottom.
Kinda. I forget that I kind of do curse a lot. Because sometimes I'll end up around relatives that I haven't seen in a while. And I'll be like, yeah, this motherfucker was fucking talking to me the other fucking day. And they'll all be like taken aback. I went to someone's wedding and they kind of had to tell me like beforehand. They're like, look, just tone it down while you're at the wedding.
No, for me, it got really bad. When I worked in a newsroom, tension was high, right? So there was a lot of language and coffee going around. I don't know more of which one. And so, like, I go to, like, the families for holidays and stuff like that, and it was, like, the same thing. I was like, oh, just fucking hurry up, and, and I was like, oh, shit, I can't talk like that here.
I guess that's why maybe I'm better at it now, because there's not, like, coffee or alcohol in my Matrix.
There you go.
So I'm not, like, I'm never belligerent. Just with
no,
you.
I wasn't,
just with you on this podcast.
Okay, that's good. And to be clear, I wasn't, like, pulling aside, like, my abuela and being like, listen, fuck.
Listen, you fuck.
Yeah, no,
It's
she's
the
a
fucking
saint.
coffee. I had a famous story where I yelled at a doctor because I thought they weren't treating my grandmother well. And I used some curse words. My grandmother had never heard me curse before. But I got her the treatment, so fuck them.
Yeah, and see, my grandma, she goes, she doesn't curse a lot, but she's like, oh shit. Like, if she takes, like, a wrong turn when she's driving, she's like, oh shit. She likes saying shit a lot, which I think is hilarious, because she doesn't curse otherwise. Unlike in Big Daddy.
Unlike in Big Daddy, which also is not that raunchy. There's, like, some curse words, but not a ton. Like, ass and shit, like, are the biggest ones.
I'll wipe my own ass.
I wipe my own ass, which is a very bad way to punctuate what might actually be kind of an emotional scene.
You know what that reminded me of?
What?
That fucking generic-ass blockbuster humor now, where it's like every time there's, like, a moment of sentimentality, they're like, hey, but it's still funny. It's still funny, though, right? It's still funny. And it's like, no, this was actually kind of working for me right there. Because I bought the connection between the kid and Adam Sandler. Didn't need that.
Did we talk about how Adam Sandler was the first choice for Rocket Raccoon?
No. Oh my god!
So there's not a bad leap.
Wow. I actually think that would have been great.
It would have. I guess Adam Sandler's agent turned it down.
Oh, did he get a new agent?
No.
Okay.
Actually, cut this out, but he tells a very funny story on Conan about his agent getting the script for Uncut Gems, like 10 years ago, and then being like, how dare you, to the Safdie brothers, and then getting the script 5 years later, and then being like, "What? I've read this piece of shit," and saying no again. And then it took them, like, meeting Sandler at, like, the Cannes Film Festival to get it made.
Wow.
This movie has there's a kind of cute element in this movie with the magic sunglasses that make him invisible. That's like a cute little moment.
There's a lot of cute little moments. It just doesn't come together.
Yeah, it doesn't congeal, really.
Yeah. Although I will say, again, all the stuff with the kid, when it works, that emotional pull works, and even though I remembered how it ended, I was actually, like, a little invested by the end. I didn't want to shut this off. At any point.
I was too. There is a part where it, like, just kind of gets really serious, kind of out of nowhere. There's the looming threat of the Child Protective Services. Played who was the guy? Josh Mostel, the son of Zira Mostel, who also played the principal in Billy Madison.
My favorite character ever.
Very interesting character. The revolting blob, who is now here like an actual imposing threat. I don't know why this guy didn't become a bigger character actor, because he's fantastic in this. Like, there's a lot of range if he can be both those characters.
Yeah.
And like, it's genuinely intimidating when he has to come and take the kid away. They actually, for like the directing kind of kicks in for a moment where you kind of get Julian's POV as he's being given to Josh Mostel. where he's like kind of like, he's not a bad guy either, but he's a stranger and he represents kind of like this other force that you don't really know how to grapple with as a kid. Which as a kid, experienced his parents' divorce, I recognize a lot of that. Where suddenly it is weird when you're a kid who learns the word divorce.
Yep.
Which is a legal term. And suddenly you learn terms like child cut. Like it's one of those things where I'm very familiar with a lot of the legal terms thrown around in this. And there's, a group of kids who are not. And I'm not like saying that I'm not trying to be like those kids are soft or something. Yeah. I'm just saying that
fucking SJWs.
I'm saying like depending on how you grow up, you learn things at a different age. And sometimes when you're young, shit gets serious very quickly and you don't really know how to deal with it. And unfortunately, the actual trial is kind of like stupid. It doesn't really make any sense, but they just kind of like parade all the characters from the film, which I guess we should talk about the supporting cast of this movie.
All right. We got Steve Buscemi
as a homeless man.
Joseph, I'm going to fuck up this name. Joseph Bologna.
Well, yeah, but he was never a huge actor, really.
No, but I liked him in this.
He had a long career. I thought, for some reason, going into some, was Robert Duvall in Big Daddy? in my mind's eye, I saw Robert Duvall as his father, but that wasn't the case.
No, you know what fucked it up? James Caan and Bulletproof. Because, what the fuck was
that?
And so now that's going to be in the back of our minds.
They could get him for Bulletproof. They could have got Robert Duvall for this.
Yeah.
But, and then...
that would have made me love this movie, because I love Robert Duvall.
And then Rob Schneider as Nazo.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. His ex, or Sonny Koufax's girlfriend, said that's basically his best friend, a delivery guy.
Which is sad, but also funny. I don't know.
I guess. What is that? Is that is he just the butt of the joke? Are we just supposed to laugh at a dude doing his job?
I don't know, but we like him. He can't read. And he's an illegal immigrant.
Make sure to mention that a lot.
He's an illegal immigrant. But that's not even played as a joke. There's a part in it, we find that out when he's like, look, I want to help you get the kid back, but I'm not a legal immigrant. My status in your country isn't necessarily legal. And it's like, whoa.
God, you know what I'm discovering or watching these Adam Sandler movies? A bunch of these have really compelling ideas and characters.
Oh no, that's the sad thing about a lot of these Sandler movies, even the ones that are going to get really terrible, is that there's always the nugget of a really great idea that you wish he gave these movies to people with an actual vision or something. I mean, the problem is he's the dominant force on all his own movies, which is financially a very smart idea. But, because, he gets a lot of range, he plays a lot of different characters, and the problem is we don't realize until he does something like Punch Drunk Love or Spanglish that, he can actually play more serious roles. But he really is already showing a decent amount of range in his characters, but there's no range in the directing or the storytelling. Which, if there was just a little more there, I think he would have a lot more movies that are undisputed classics. And so far, the only one that really gets close to that is Billy Madison, and that's not even that's just so strange at times.
But speaking of Adam Sandler as the creative force behind these films, I think it's important to note that this was also the last Adam Sandler film before he started Happy Madison Productions.
Yep.
And it was also the highest grossing domestically until Hotel Transylvania 2.
Wow, that's
nuts. We will
nuts.
eventually talk about.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, $34 million against $234 million. It made $200 million more than its budget. That's fucking...
That is nuts. For a movie like this would not do that kind of business today.
Yeah, I mean, even the good stuff like game night or blockers, which I brought up on this podcast a lot. I know, but like those weren't like runaway hits. They were like really well received, and they did business, and then that was like it.
Yeah, well, in comedies, like, isn't like the big thing that the comedies really don't play overseas?
Yeah, they need something else.
Like, I've heard that's actually a problem with the Coen brothers. Like, I've heard them in interviews where like our movies are like really popular in specific countries, but not all over the world, because we just have very American humor in it.
Yeah. Like, not to derail Big Daddy before we wrap up, because I did not expect to talk this long about Big Daddy, and I'm not complaining either, but just like the Marvel movies always do very well overseas, but specifically Ant-Man does really well overseas. Domestically, that's kind of like the weaker one.
That's kind of nuts, because Ant-Man, the Ant-Man movies are not good. They are not good.
Fine.
I was so disappointed in Ant-Man. It was just like, it was probably my own fault for keeping the faith after they fired Edgar Wright. But I was so down with the idea of like, because like there's something about like size changing action that's like just so stupid. But like as a kid, one of my favorite movies was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Mm-hmm. So I've always had like a weird like kind of fascination with like, which is one of like the easiest effects to do. Like if you have a green screen, you could do a size changing effect at your house. And somehow like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and the fucking Borrowers are like so much more inventive than either of the Ant-Man movies. The only fun thing the Ant-Man movies came up with was like making tiny things really big. I was it just bugs me. I feel like that's like, it's perfectly set up on a tee to be fun, and it just isn't. I don't like that, Diego.
Look, I'm with you on the whole anti-MCU thing now, I guess, but like, they're fine. I don't hate those movies.
I'm not saying I hate them, but I do not like them.
Oh, okay.
I think they are bad.
Okay. I think the second one's got less going for it, but I don't care enough to fight anymore.
Name 3 of the characters that aren't Ant-Man or the Wasp.
Well, there's Ant-Man's daughter.
What's her name? What's her name?
Cassie.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
That actually is. But no, yeah, it's fine. Adam Sandler could have made a fun Scott Lang.
That's not a bad idea. I think he's a little too old at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely too old. But like when Edgar Wright like wanted to do it originally, I think that would have worked.
Yeah, I think Paul Rudd's a good.
I think 2005.
Paul Rudd's a good choice for the character. They just don't know how to use him.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of wish he was playing Hank Pym, but
that's I could go on that. I think you can feel the remnants of Edgar Wright's script when you watch the first Ant-Man, and I'm going to go on a limb, and I think it might be one of the most brilliant screenplays ever written. In terms of superhero films, I guess.
Okay.
There's this really brilliant father-son stuff in that movie. And which, is a very like classic trope, but I think that movie does it in a way that is much more interesting than people give it credit for. But whenever they brought Adam McKay on, who I like, they kind of just leaned into the comedy and they dropped all the other stuff. But you can feel the remnants of it. And I would argue that the villain of the first Ant-Man is like one of the better Marvel villains.
Oh, I actually want to hear this. I did not expect that.
That's all you're getting.
Eventually, Sonny wins custody of the little Sprouse children.
We should say
I totally forgot his name.
I gotta point out the one funny line in the movie where he's like, I want my father to come to the stand. And it's like, we can't bring his father to the stand. He's going to be too favorable to his son. And he's like, we can't trust any opinion he gives. And he's like, you want my opinion? My son is a moron. He's like, I withdraw my objection. That's a pretty funny line.
Yeah. Again, moments in this. But it's always just moments now for me.
But yeah, but it's revealed that Jon Stewart, who we didn't even talk about...
No, I said he was in it.
Yeah, we brought up that he was in it, but we didn't talk about his relevance.
Sorry.
It turns out he's the father of Julian. He puts the pieces together because they were like, at the beginning, it's not that he was keeping it a secret, he just didn't realize that the kid really was his son. We never find out what happened to the mom, I don't think.
I think she died of cancer or something.
Maybe, but I remember them just saying that she like financially couldn't support the kid, and then that just never comes up again.
Oh shit! Are you sure she didn't die?
Maybe. I think she might have, but I don't know if it's ever said.
Huh.
And he's like, I'll do a blood test so we can end this trial. And so he ends up with the kid. So Jon Stewart gets the kid, but he remains friends with Adam Sandler. Works out for everyone.
Oh, and then Sonny also turns his life around. He becomes a lawyer. He gets married to Joey Lauren Adams, and then they get a kid of their own.
Yeah, I think, and I think that's one of Adam Sandler's actual children.
Oh, okay, that's nice. The end.
That's the movie.
His ex-girlfriend also works at Hooters, right?
Yeah, she's punished for work. She works at Hooters because the guy who committed and actually had life plans, turns out those plans didn't work out. So fuck them for trying and dreaming.
Yeah, how dare they have their own lives? Also, I think I had forgotten that she cheats on him with an older man. And so I was like, oh, okay, it's a fake out. It's her dad. She's just moving out. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, that's right.
Hey, old man Rivers, zip it or I'll break your hip. I gotta be honest, though. I ran into someone who I knew in high school who I did not get along with. And they were working a very, lowly job. I won't say where, but it was an awkward situation to run into them. And they were clearly not happy to see me. See them, basically. And I did not get any satisfaction out of that. That's not I don't know if, why that's a dream of some people.
I think it's because they haven't been in the situation. It's
yeah.
This is a leap, but in those action movies where it's you don't kill the villain, it won't it's not what they would want or whatever when they're trying to get revenge or some shit. And it's then sometimes they do it and they're I don't feel any better. Well, this is the real life version of that, where it's you're doing wish fulfillment. You're not actually going to feel any pleasure by watching someone else suffer.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah. It's not that working in a place like Hooters is suffering, but, if something doesn't work out for someone.
According to this movie, it's a humiliating thing, which is so weird because it's very clearly a product tie-in. And the whole movie, it's a weird thing where they don't shit on the product, but they definitely shit on the employees.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's to me. This is the beginning of kind of the dunking on the working class, which doesn't really take off until Adam Sandler kind of ends up in more privileged positions.
It's funny that you bring up Duncan. I'm not going to say it, but it is funny.
Don't mind if I do.
What's my name? Dunkachino. It's a whole new game. Dunkachino. You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my chocolate blend.
Matt, where can the people find you?
I'm at EmperorOTN1 at Twitter.com.
And you can find me at Twitter.com as well, at the Diego Crespo. Check out the Waffle Press on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon, where you can listen to episodes early. And check out a bunch of other stuff we got going on here, too. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional. And we'll be back next week with Poltergeist.